How do you know about OnlyIAS?
Through groups, people have posted on certain Telegram groups that there's a mock going on here, so that's it.
ठीक है तो थोड़ा सा मैं उसको पूछ लूँगी उसका
May I come in, ma'am? May I come in, sir?
प्लीज़ कम
Good afternoon, ma'am. Good afternoon, sir.
कम मेक योर सेल्फ कम्फर्टेबल प्लीज़
Thank you, ma'am.
चंदना
Yes, ma'am.
राइट what is your present profile?
Ma'am, I have joined Indian Revenue Service Income Tax.
Indian Revenue Service?
Income Tax.
And earlier you were in the Company Affairs?
Indian Corporate Law Service, yes, ma'am.
Okay, corporate laws. So when did you join Indian Revenue Service? Last year?
This year exam, so through UPSC CSE 2022, I've joined in November 8th and I've taken
November.
extraordinary leave.
You joined and you took leave. So did you go to NDT?
Yes, ma'am.
And within 2-3 days,
Yes.
how could you afford to come back from such a beautiful campus? Right? But nevertheless, you are looking for better pastures, no problems. Now, Chandana, though you are not trained, but GST, income tax, it's a part of our life. How much is the total contribution of direct plus indirect taxes to the GDP of India?
Ma'am,
In terms of percentage, I am not interested in figure.
ma'am, direct tax to GDP ratio is around 6.2%.
Right? And indirect?
It is also around the same range to 5.5 to 6%.
A little less than, so put together is 11%
Yes.
and plus, right? Now, I'll give you a hypothetical situation. Now that I have retired, I can talk about it. The effective taxpayers out of the 8 crore is only about 1.5 crore.
Yes, ma'am.
They have a grievance that we are contributing so much. In return, in this democratic country, we don't get any social welfare. Nothing is covered. Neither we are covered by insurance, government insurance or anything for that matter, except some people get pension and some people also will not be getting it in the new pension scheme if they have not opted for that. And on the other side, 80 crore people are on subsistence. Then the farmers are agitating. Poor, farmer, these two categories are agitating. Youth is also agitating because they are not getting employment. That is very justified. How do we, bring a holistic picture so that we can keep the major part of the India, the major population satisfied in terms of vis-a-vis the farmer agitation. Other people can also agitate. So how do we bring a balance? Give me a, how, because the Prime Minister or the Government of India has to take care of everybody.
Ma'am, like you mentioned that we need to make sure that both the sections, be it the 1.2 crore taxpayers, the money that they are giving is very important. That is being the backbone in terms of how we can spend for the social welfare. So they need to be catered to in terms of how better can we improve ease of living and ease of doing business, and their incomes can improve and the quality of life that they can get from our nation. That is going to be one aspect. Coming to the farmer agitations and so on, their demands have been with respect to how their incomes have very marginally improved. In terms of real wages, we do not even see that level of improvement. So their agitation is coming from a point of view that their remunerations have not increased and there's a lot of volatility which must be considered. So going ahead with that, there is a need for certain level of support, income support for that matter, instead of any other market distortionary practices. A level of income support must be looked into. Coming to the other part about poor, we are seeing subsidized food as a policy, but other measures also must come into place, like how today we are thinking about housing for many, affordable housing, that must be one. Then education, how can we improve education?
What is there for the housing sector, affordable housing in the budget itself?
We have affordable housing where we are talking about going beyond PM Awas Yojana, Arbal and Grameen, to going beyond that to affordable housing for middle income classes in the urban areas where they're living in slums and so on. So that is an important measure that has to be taken up on a long prerogative to ensure housing is also catered to.
That we are working on that.
Yes, ma'am.
So what is there for the taxpayers? If they don't work, they are not allowed to cross the borders. They cannot go to their factories in Sonipat and the places like that. Work is totally on a standstill. So is there any redressal of their grievances?
We must redress their grievances also.
How do people commute? NCR being NCR, many people have to go for work there on that side.
Yes, ma'am.
Right? Now, my question to you is, the farmers are saying we will let India not be part of WTO. What could be the reason? How did they manage to pinpoint that India should not be part of WTO?
Ma'am, I believe that the WTO grievances with respect to the clauses on agriculture and in recent times even on fisheries, where we are seeing that the
Only subsidies.
only
Let's be focused. Let's see the eye of the, the storm. It's about subsidies. India has to phase out subsidies gradually. We are working on that. When we see the farmer's income, the cost input is nothing.
Yes, sir.
Suppose everything is free, my water is free, my electricity is free, even I am given quality seeds, everything. My cost is only 5 rupees. We have to see cost benefit analysis has to be done. What is the input cost and what is the output, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So do you think we can legalize MSP? We can give pension to them? We should exit from WTO? Yes or no, please.
Ma'am, coming to the first point, we cannot exit WTO, but we need to understand farmers' demands with respect to it. Coming to the second point, I do not...
What demand? Should we keep the subsidies and increase that?
We should gradually come to a place where we
So
can...
do you think government is drastically cutting the subsidies?
No, ma'am, I'm not of the opinion that drastic changes
Nothing
are
is
coming.
happening in this country, nothing happens in a drastic manner.
Yes, ma'am. I believe gradual movement is only correct. Even with respect to fertilizer subsidies, today we are seeing nano urea, nano DAP coming. But the fertilizer subsidy is still running parallelly. So we need to gradually phase
There's so
out.
much of overlap and we need to review how do we grow. Next.
For MSP legalization, I do not believe that it is in the best interest of farmers. Even if we legalize it today, it is not going to be in the best interest of farmers on a very long run, because we need sustainable agriculture and we need...
Where is the revenue, please? You are in the income tax department. Would you earn more and give us money to legalize and keep those, buy those products and keep, where do we keep?
Yes,
How
ma'am.
do we
These
make
are...
warehouses?
Yes, ma'am.
Where's the money? Okay, all right. My colleagues will talk to you.
Okay, Chandana, you studied corporate law for 1.5 years.
Yes.
Tell me what are the provisions for independent directors?
So the provisions for independent directors are that in a major board of a company, 3 or more should be independent directors. The provision for independent directors is in the interest of the company. The second provision is also that these directors should be a major part of audit committee, which must also hold meetings apart from the whole-time directors. This is in the interest of ensuring that the financial interests of all the shareholders and minority shareholders are taken care of.
You didn't talk about women directors.
The second provision is also with respect to women directors, and that is for listed companies. They are supposed to have 1 woman director on board.
Okay. You have seen villages?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Just tell me 5 major differences between village and urban life.
So, 5 major differences according to me are: 1 is about community life. In village, this is very...
Just enumerate, don't explain.
1 is community life, sir. 2 is the transport and movement of people in general. 3 is with respect to the family structures. 4 is with respect to the nature of occupations and what is their daily lifestyle. 5 is with respect to access to education and health facilities.
All other facility, infrastructure, basic infrastructure?
Sir, I wanted to cover that with respect to transport and so on.
Okay. Okay. What is the 8th schedule of the Constitution? 8th schedule of the Constitution? Something about languages?
Yes, sir. Sorry, sir. 8th schedule is with respect to languages.
How many?
So, to what I remember, it is 22, but I'll again have to recollect the number.
So, what's the official language and national language? Official language, national language.
So, we have an official language which is Hindi. National language was previously debated, but we do not have any national language.
Acha, okay. See, two major amendments have been passed, constitutional amendments about women, reservation for women. Which are those two constitutional amendments?
So one is the 73rd and 74th Amendment for local body institutions, where more than 1/3 women can be, not less than 1/3 women must be there in local institutions. And the second has been Nari Shakti Adhiniyam that has come in recently, which is respect to reservations in the legislative assemblies.
Which is that number?
So
106.
Yes, sir, 106.
Okay. Have you heard of judges versus judges case? Few days back.
Yes, sir.
What is that?
Sir, this was the with respect to how the collegium system has come in, the first judge, second judge.
Calcutta, judge versus judges case.
Yes, sir. So that was with respect to a single bench judge and a two benches judge.
Okay. What was the issue?
The issue was with respect to an order that was passed by a two bench judge and how one.
Okay. Okay. My last question: judicial reforms. In the last 5 years, what all has been done, and 3-4 major areas where you think reforms are required?
So major reforms that have come in judiciary have been with respect to e-courts committee, which is looking at taking forward technology initiatives. Second has been with respect to certain live proceedings that are coming in courts. Third is National Judiciary Data Grid, which is providing data round the clock. And fourth has also been with respect to talking about certain reforms within the judiciary, within respect to appointments and so on. So changes that must come in are with respect to one on how the appointments of judges and how a collegium system must reflect the broader change. That must be one. Second is also with respect to judicial education and how women are not getting sufficient opportunities. That is something that judiciary must also look at. Third is with respect to vacation of the judicial benches. This has also been raised over a period of time. And
what about adjournments?
Also adjournments.
Thank you.
Chandana, I am actually getting confused. Should we select you or not? For the very simple reason, because I find that you are a jumping jack. You went to corporate, then you said, no, I want to resign. You went to taxation, now you say, I want to resign again, I want to become an IPS, foreign service and IAS. Suppose if we give you police service this time and this is not in your first two, so will you resign again? Why should we select you this time?
Sir,
Are you unhappy with income tax?
No, sir. I am satisfied.
Why are you applying again? Why are you wasting time of? You have wasted 2 years. Why?
So I agree that this can be seen probably also as waste of time. But when I started preparation for the exam, I started with a goal of becoming an Indian Administrative Service Officer. And I did not want to hold any regrets in my future that when I had opportunities, I did not utilize them effectively. I am trying to do the same to ensure that I give one meaningful attempt and try and complete it and do my best in a service and to not look back. And I believe I must be selected for that reason, sir.
So you mean to say that I have to run an organization to meet your personal aims, personal ambitions, aspirations?
No, sir. I do not mean to say that. I mean to say that the mechanism that I am following is as per the rules that have been laid out, that 6 attempts can be given to an individual and they can try to pursue it, and if they cannot make it, they can continue in the service that they are.
Okay. I understand there's Armed Forces Special Power Act in Northeast for last 65 years. Do I believe that democracy has failed in India? All the elections that we have in Northeast states, these are a sham, because we've still not been able to get away with from Armed Forces Special Power Act in these states. What's your take on it?
So my take is that the Armed Forces Special Powers Act came in a very specific context of how the situation was on ground.
It is still there or not there?
So the number of districts where it is enforced has gradually and very drastically come down in the last.
How many?
I do not know the exact number, sir, but it has come down in significantly.
65 years you have not been able to tackle it. Any reasons?
Sir, I believe there are certain reasons for this. One is with respect to how there are a lot of tribal communities and their affinities have been very different. So this has created a kind of interactions where we found it very difficult to control the situation.
Your suggestions?
So my
to
suggestions,
overcome all these problems?
so my suggestions would, in this regard, would be to ensure that we effectively monitor the ground situations and also build the people's trust about the same, that they trust the armed forces, and gradually we move away from enforcing that in the number of districts.
We are having something FMR, some free movement, I
regime,
don't know.
yes, sir.
We are having some Bhutan, with Nepal, all these countries. Do you recommend that we should have with all these countries a fencing mechanism?
So I think the free movement regime has for now been suspended in Myanmar. So this is with respect to how it is of concern for both the countries. So here I believe, yes, we must go with fencing mechanism, but with Nepal, Bhutan, we have enough checkpoints in place. But we have major issues from there also with respect to smuggling of goods and so on, which must be tackled going forward.
Okay. I understand UCC is being implemented in Uttarakhand.
Yes, sir.
And where I don't know whether it was by choice or by hook or crook, they got this live-in relationship also into the. Do you think it is right, or it is intruding into the privacy of the two adult individuals?
So I believe the intention has been with respect to how we have seen in the past that certain live-in relationships have impacted women and children born out of wedlock in a live-in relationship being impacted, which becomes a concern of the state. But that being said, the provision of criminalizing and mandating that if the declaration is not made is a big issue, because this might lead to how certain couples might be targeted, and there is a certain level of privacy invasion. So I believe a solution here would be to first start with a voluntary declaration from the part of a woman to promote the idea that that she must
The very
voluntarily.
fact is that anyone who has got good intention will always declare. It is the crooks who will evade.
Yes, sir, I agree with this.
If that be so, then why are we waiting for the crooks to have the better of us? Think about it. I enjoyed interacting with you. I wish you all the best.
Thank you so much.
Okay, Chandana,
Yes, sir.
your name consists of two words, Chandana, Jahnvi.
Yes, sir.
What do they mean, separately and together?
So separately, Chandana originates from the Sanskrit word Chandanam, which is sandalwood.
Okay.
And Jahnavi is from mythology, where it is the name of river Ganga.
Okay.
So together, it's a combination of something that is stable in terms of fragrance, Chandanam, and then that is something that represents movement,
Okay.
dynamism.
Tell me, what type of industry or business your father is in?
So my father worked as a software engineer. Now he works in professional bodies such as Computer Society
Okay,
of
and
India.
what does
so
your
on.
mother teach?
My mother is a pre-primary teacher, sir.
Okay. Okay, now just one simple question, since you are already an Indian Revenue Service officer in income tax. MLAs and MPs are exempt from income tax on their pensions. Isn't that?
So I am not well
Yeah, I
versed with
think
the
so.
act. I didn't
So do you think that civil servants also, pensioners also should be exempt from that? Why is the government levying income tax on pensions? This all relates to us. do you think it should also be? It should also be exempt?
So I would have to really think about this, but I do not believe that we must claim for exemptions. In fact, even MPs going forward must think about.
Or MPs, MLAs should also be levied income tax?
Yes, as in gradually, yes, because the rest of the provisions are.
Okay, okay. Now coming to your home state, which is the least developed district in Telangana?
So based on socio-economic parameters, I believe the district of Adilabad features in one of the least.
Adilabad.
Yes, sir.
What are the problems and what are the solutions you have in mind if you are posted there as Deputy Commissioner?
Yes, sir. So I think, sir, three major problems exist in Adilabad district. One is with respect to the forest areas, and tribal population in the district, where we see low socio-economic indicators, be it with respect to health, education and skill development. Second problem with Adilabad has also been that it has not seen the growth of manufacturing or service sector industry. It has mostly been agricultural. So there's a need for diversification of economy there. Third factor is also with respect to connection to the main city. The northern Telangana in general is not as well connected as the southern Telangana is to Hyderabad. So some of these projects now that are coming in, which is outer ring roads and so on, are very important. Their connectivity to the city is also very important. So I'm of the opinion that if I had to consider, the first step would be with respect to women. Here we need certain steps to encourage entrepreneurship, self-help groups and so on. The second is with respect to education of youth. Here tribal youth must see opportunities of doing secondary education and higher education. So to focus on education will be important.
It is also affected by Naxalism.
Yes, sir, certain parts of the district. So that is also important to ensure more trust is put in place.
Now, there had been 33% reservation for women at local self-government, panchayat level and block level and district level.
Yes, sir.
But at least in northern India, we find that in many cases, it is not the women sarpanch or the pradhan who have the power, but their husbands, whereby a term has been coined, sarpanch pati or pradhan pati. They rule the roost. So, what steps would you take to address this problem?
So I'm building on something that I've seen in a small TV show called Panchayat, where they've shown something of the similar nature, and how like a Panchayat officer can remind a woman Panchayat Sarpanch that her duty is to the society in general and it's not of her husband's can play a very important role. The second is also about training, so this has also been raised in standing committees, that the first thing is to empower them and train them that they are capable administrators. That is when this can improve.
Now coming back to your preference of Indian Foreign Service. Are we trying to get veto power in Security Council? If so, why? If not, why not?
So by correlation, when we are looking at a permanent membership, we are looking at a veto power. But that being said, India is also of the view that it must represent the true global the institution that is in place right now is representing a 1949.
So instead of veto power, we are looking for more representation.
More representation also.
My last question is, what is the difference between an embassy, a high commission and a consulate?
So I'll have to read about this, I'm sorry.
Okay, the High Commission is in the countries which are members of Commonwealth, embassy is for other countries, consulate is not embassy but a regional station of embassy or High Commission dealing with not policy matters but the consular passport visa matters and other matters like trade, right? What?
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Chandana, so by going through your DAF, I noticed that you have lived in different cities. Yes. How many cities you have lived?
Sir, I have lived in 5 cities.
5 different cities?
Yes, sir.
Tell me the name.
Sir, Bangalore, Hyderabad, Ranchi, Indore and Gurgaon as part of my IC industry.
Yeah, we can see that. So I think it was not a tourist type of visit. You stayed there a lot.
Yes, sir.
And you have studied sociology.
Yes, sir.
Now tell me what these different cities can learn from themselves.
So first and foremost, I believe one thing that all other cities can learn from Indore is about cleanliness and waste management, which has been end-to-end made. Second, from Ranchi, one thing that other cities can learn is with respect to tribal museums and tribal empowerment. So most of the city is focused on showcasing its rich tribal culture. 3, from Hyderabad, the other cities can learn about how to develop their own cuisine. So Hyderabad has a very rich cuisine.
Indore also has a very rich cuisine.
In terms
You didn't
of
like it?
I like both, sir, but maybe that I'm a local, I believe Hyderabad has a very
Okay,
vibrant
take it. Yes.
culture. The fourth thing that Bangalore can learn from, Bangalore can give to other cities is with respect to green parks and how they're able to manage that with their urban population, rising urban population.
Green part, a bit comprehension.
As in green areas within communities and how they are going about ensuring that the green areas remain even as the city urbanizes, and there's a lot more
But there is issue of urban flooding because of encroachment of lakes in Bangalore.
Yes, sir. That is also a concern that I think it has to learn from other cities to improve how
It is
can
giving this thing or it is learning from that?
So I want to highlight that there are both problems. There's encroachment of lakes.
So we have good examples too, you are trying to say.
Yes, sir. There are good
Okay,
examples
yes.
also.
Then?
From Gurugram, I believe one thing is with respect to ease of transport to the capital city. This is one thing that I have noticed. I have lived just 9 to 10 months here, sir. So.
Okay, urban transportation. Chandana, there is also a debate going on, the north-south divide. Yes. Do you agree, again from the sociological perspective, do you agree that there is there a north-south divide?
From a sociological point of view, I agree that there are certain parameters which show that there is a divide.
Okay, what are those?
Certain social parameters such as total fertility rate, if I had to talk about that, that is a dividing parameter. Second is with respect to level of education and education attainments that we see, that certain states have done better. The third is also with respect to employment opportunities. We see a lot of northward migration to south in general. So I think these show, but in general I believe that it's much more united than the differences showcase.
So you mentioned unity. Now tell me how they are similar in bad examples.
So certain bad examples that I can think about are, one is with respect to discrimination levels. I believe that
they both are discriminatory. Agreed.
Second is with respect to crime rates, sir. Crimes against women have been a factor across both, be it dowry deaths in Kerala or certain things that have happened in NCR. So we see that crime rates against women are there. Third is with respect to how urban areas are seeing a lot more issues such as traffic. All of these are perennial problems across the urban areas of both north and south. And fourth is the rural agrarian distress is a common issue across north and south. Both farmers across the region are having a problem. So I believe there are a lot more.
Thank you, Chandana, and I sincerely hope that your vast experience of living these different cities and understanding of how they work and your understanding of sociology will be a lot of help for you in your administrative post. Thank you. All the best, Chandana. Over to you, ma'am.
Chandana, your formal interview is over. You are already, you have job experience and you are aspiring for better things in life. It's all right. Now tell me, on a scale of 10, how do you rate today's performance of your interview?
Ma'am, this is one of my first interviews. My interview is on April 4th, so I've just come to Delhi to practice.
It's all right. You have already qualified for IRS. Now assess this. There you will be doing assessment orders and things like that. There also you will be assessing. So assess for me.
Ma'am, I have found a lot of weak areas that I think I should have my...
I only ask you for the scale.
Ma'am, I think somewhere around 6.
You are modest. You are better than that.
How much have you got last time?
190.
How much did you get?
180.
190.
190. So what did you think that pulled you down? You didn't get your first preference?
Ma'am, I got very less marks in essay. I had an 85.
And how did you do this time?
I did not do one.
It's a very subjective area, you know. One can never be sure about the essay part of it. Anyway, let's hope for the best. When is your interview?
April 4th, ma'am.
So you have enough time. What is your strategy? You tell me.
Ma'am, I'm trying to cover current affairs and at the same time try to learn a little bit about Indian Revenue Service and brush up on my knowledge.
Yeah, I was going to say that even if you have not joined the services, more than a general candidate, you should know about the revenue services, both direct and indirect taxes. You just read some of the salient features would be handy for you to know. Then your DEF, you have already scored so well, so you are well prepared on your DEF. But about these issues, tricky issues like farmer agitation, we can never be sure. So keep a good track what is happening in that domain till your day of interview. I think sooner or later it will resolve to. The government is also trying its level best. So much dialogue is happening. The minister himself was there in Chandigarh to talk to them. gave an offer, they didn't like it, they came back, then again they are on hold. So it can also be a kind of an election gimmick. We are not sure what is, we don't know the full facts. So keep yourself in the safe zone. Don't, say that totally that we are in. Actually, farmers, some of the demands are very unreasonable, I feel so. You may not agree with me, that's all right. But do think as a judicious person and then make a call on that. Maybe by that time things will resolve and some new issue will come. For any tricky question, let's take both the views, pros and cons, and take a very judicious view, a holistic view, because they are not the only pillar where India has to focus. There are many other, and most of the farmers are not part of this agitation actually. The rich and the affluent are only. We also need to keep this in mind, that subsidies are really hampering our growth now. They have become counterproductive, one thing. Second, we don't tax agriculture. So the taxpayers are also there is resentment there also. We pay tax on our pension. I'm not saying, many people would resent. Now they are, thinking of leaving this country and going to settle in Dubai. Many of the people have already left. A major chunk of the population doesn't want to stay in India. There is no scope of raising the, taxation rate. People will not take it. So all that has to be kept in mind and then take a prudent view. Read about what is there for women in the budget, the women empowerment. Now there is a paradigm shift that we are not talking about empowerment anymore. We are talking about women-led development. So what areas we are touching upon. G20, the main focus was women-led development. So all that, being a woman candidate, of course, from that domain, something will be there. So be prepared on that also. I don't think I can advise you further. You have any question, then please tell us.
No major questions.
No major questions? Thank you. So all the best to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Right.
Should we take one more or?
I don't know.